Morning, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Jaywalking. So we did the Henson Lake 24-hour Ultra Classic on Saturday. Me and the wife both did it. We had some friends from the job invite us, and it was our first time checking it out, and I had a blast. I really pushed my body to the limit on this one. I'm still relatively, I don't want to say new, but very far from like experienced at all. So I'm definitely, I'm only in my second year of running, and trying to do it competitively. But I ended up there, I think it was 387 people in total that went. I ended up finishing 90th overall, 44th out of all males, and it was rated by distance ran. It was the furthest that I've ever gone. Even when I did my 100,000 step challenge, it wasn't even close. It was kind of close, but I definitely pushed way harder on this. I ended up with 116,000 steps for the day, and a total of 54.9 miles traveled. I finished the race with 52.6 miles, but the extra couple of miles and steps were just from, getting up in the morning, walking over to the starting line, getting my stuff together at the camp and all that. And that's the other thing, is it was a overnight camping adventure, which just puts even more of a toll on your body, because the Friday night I did not sleep well at all. But no excuses. I got up Saturday, went and did it. I ran for about 15 hours straight. There was next to no breaks, very little downtime. The only real breaks were bathroom and to dump out my shoes, because it was a sandy kind of trail in some spots. It was not a paved thing, which is good in the long run because my feet weren't slapping concrete the whole time, but some of the sand spots were a little rough to traverse through. Not like rough on my knees or anything, just the energy it takes for you to push through sand is, you expend more than just pushing off of flat ground, especially when you're running. The fastest lap that I did was around 15 minutes, and a lap was 1.5 miles on the dot. So I did a mile and a half in about 15 minutes there. I'm still up in the air if I should have tried to keep maintaining that kind of pace, or maybe slow it down slightly, just so that I could have gone longer, because it was a 24-hour race. I still had 9 hours to go, but after almost, I think it was like close to midnight when I finally completely stopped. My legs couldn't do it anymore. I burned just slightly under 8,000 calories. Now, for the entire day, I burned over 8,000, but that was 8,000 just for the race. I ate, I don't want to say non-stop, but every third lap, I was grabbing some kind of a carb source and some form of like electrolyte drink, because I was absolutely drenched from head to toe. When we first woke up, it was, I want to say like 45 degrees, something like that. It was really chilly when we started, and it was pretty much perfect racing weather for the whole day. It did not like skyrocket in temperature. I think the highest it got was like maybe 77 degrees. And a lot of that was also covered in trees. So it was just great to run in. What I did was the equivalent of 2 marathons, back-to-back marathons. And the first one I ran most of. The first, I want to say a good portion of the first half of the day, I ran almost without stopping or slowing down. Now, there was some laps that were faster than others. My first lap was a little slower because I walked it with my wife, and then after we crossed the starting line, I took off. And I want to say the first 2 or 3 laps were getting increasingly faster. Huh? Hi. Dog just ran out. So the first few laps, I was getting increasingly faster and faster. Sorry, the dog's like following me. Getting exponentially faster, and eventually I was just keeping like about a 15-minute pace from that point. And again, that was 1.5 miles, so I was averaging probably about a 10-minute mile for a good portion of the first half of the day. And I went, I want to say 18 or 19 miles straight without having to stop. Now, the only times I did actually have to stop, like I said, there were points where I didn't have a choice. I had to dump out my shoes because they were just like filling up with all kinds of sand and small pebbles and stuff like that. So eventually that stuff like kind of wears on your feet. Just gives me stuff that I need to know for next year. I don't have shoe gaiters, which now I know for this thing are going to be huge, extremely beneficial. Shoe gaiters basically are like something you put over the gap between your ankle and your shoe. It covers the opening at the top of your shoe so that when you're running, you don't have stuff get up into your shoes. They kind of wrap from, I want to say, I don't know, a couple inches up on your shin all the way down your shoe, covering the laces and everything. So I know I need those for next year. There was a ton of people using them, and I see why now. I mean, they're good for hiking and everything, but if you're doing trail running like this, they're kind of like needed. Unless you got some magic shoes that are just gonna somehow keep all that stuff out. But overall, it was a blast. Probably around 3-4 o'clock is when fatigue started to get set in a little bit, but I was more focused on just getting tons of carbs in me. Not so much protein or fiber, because, now don't get me wrong, if you're trying to put on muscle and you're trying to get jacked, of course you want to up your protein intake. When you're doing an endurance run like this, that's the last thing you want to do. You need quick digesting carbs to give you that energy. And the cool thing is they had these tables lined up at the start/finish line where they had a constant supply of food and like Gatorade and electrolyte drinks and ginger ale and Coke and all kinds of stuff. Like, they had a team of people that were constantly just putting out food. And one of the best things was, I was worried. We came prepared, like we brought a lot of food just in case, because my wife's vegetarian, I'm vegan, and we were worried that there wouldn't be like a lot of options for us. But they had everything covered. From first thing in the morning until finish the next day, they had potatoes, sweet potatoes at one point, tons of fruit, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches cut up into quarters. They had, at one point, they literally had cases of burgers from Burger King that they were handing out, grilled cheese sandwiches, soup. At one point they had like ramen, snacks. They had like Oreos. They didn't have actual Oreos. They had like, the knockoff, like Hydrox or whatever, which, if I remember right, they were actually out before Oreo, but that's a whole nother thing. Granola bars, like, just, they had so much different stuff. So that was awesome. And it was the first time that I legitimately could tell the difference in my diet and what I need to be putting in my body. I also decided from this point to focus less on putting on a ton of muscle up top. I'm still going to stay in good shape, and I want to kind of maintain what I have, but if I end up losing a little bit of it, that's going to be okay. Because after doing this is what I want to keep doing. Like higher distance races. 5Ks are fun. The 10K, like the around the crown, is fun. But they drastically pale in comparison to me, when it comes to what I did on Saturday. It's just, to me, it's not even remotely close to the same. I had a ridiculous amount of fun, and it really gave me a chance to see what I can do, and gives me goals for next year. I still can't believe And I know some people are going to see this and be like, 90th? That's not that great. That's out of 387 people, all age brackets. And then 44th out of all males there. At one point, I actually got up to 30, but after my legs died out, I was done. I mean, you had some people that were like taking naps and then going back out. But yeah, pretty proud of myself of what I could do. My first one, and that's the other thing, I was only 10 miles away from actually getting one of the medals for 100K. I didn't know that was a thing. If I did, I would have bit the bullet and pushed. But again, goals for next year. Next year, I'd like to do 100K at least. And that's the thing, is like, this stuff takes time. Your body needs to take time to adjust. You can't do this overnight. A year ago, there's no way I would have been able to do this. When I did my 100,000 step challenge, I didn't run at all and was hurting at the end of it. And it took me longer to do. So, just the difference is astronomical. I mean, I did it on Saturday. Today is Tuesday. And when I woke up yesterday, my legs felt okay enough for me to go and run. So I went and did a 5K, just a recovery run. Now, I wasn't trying to push it, so I wasn't like breaking records, but when I did that, I did it in 30 minutes, which is like the same amount of time it took for me to do one of my first 5Ks. And that was me doing a recovery run with sore legs. So my fitness definitely has gone way up. But time's ticking down. I gotta get in, get a shower, go back to work. But yeah, I wanted to share my experience. I'll talk more about it later when I have more time. But I wanted to focus this one less on the whole diet and calories and this is what you need to do, and kind of focus this one more on the afterthoughts on my first ultra, and let everyone know how I did. I've already posted my results online, so because I'm all about transparency. There's no point in me lying when you can just look and see what I did. But I mean, I've been about transparency since day one, which is why I never edit these videos. But we're going to wrap it up here. Until the next one, have a great day. I appreciate the support. If you like it, go ahead and hit the like, subscribe for more. And until then, I'm out.